Here we go then. The second outing, 3 months on from her debut for the talented youngster Lillie Winch, 21-year-old, popular in these parts, skills to burn. And Barry, always interesting to see after a debut and a promising one at that, what direction a fledgling young career will take.
Yeah, it is, of course, because you've got the one where you get all the nerves out your system. That first one where you just want to get that win under your belt. Now starting to build your career now in the second fight. To get the wins, to start doing what you do in the gym, transferring that into the ring now. It becomes real business. It's not just getting over the line and getting that win. It's about producing the goods, getting better.
And in Quintana, we've got a solid, durable opponent. One Andy stepping in at late notice. Don't think that'll bother her.
No, it's a requirement of the job, isn't it? But she's got her work cut out against Winch. She's not somebody who gets stopped all that often, Quintana. But the first thing you notice about Lillie Winch is that she's trimmed down from her last outing. She's looking to box around featherweight, super bantamweight. I think when it comes to titles, and she's making her way down there. This is slated at lightweight tonight, but there was a bit of spare on her debut. No big deal there. She was always confident that do it nice and gradual, do it the right way, and she would get down to the fighting weight she's aiming for, and she's on her way by the look of it. Yeah,
very much so. Very much so. Loads of quality sparring for her over the last couple of years as well. Has been part of her, well, a big part of her education before her professional debut.
She's lovely and loose with the punches, isn't she? Even though she's being aggressive, she don't load up with anything. Everything's just nice and smooth.
Particularly for one with such limited amateur experience. There's a lot of natural talent there for Lillie Winch. I guess that first round in the bank. She's done a lot of good sparring, Andy. She's been in with the likes of Nina Hughes, Sky Nicholson a couple of years ago, Caroline Dubois as well. She went 8 rounds with. She was honest enough actually to say that Sky Nicholson dropped her with a body shot right at the end of their spar, but that was a few years ago. And she says it was a visit to Denmark where she went across to spar Dina Thorsland, who's a 2-belt world champion, bantamweight world champion at the moment. And she said that was really the turning point for her. She saw what it took in terms of preparation, focus, mindset to become a champion. And she said that was a real turning point for her, at least in her career, psychologically.
That doesn't surprise me actually, because she's a star in Denmark, Thorsland, and she has been for quite a long time. You go over there to cover her fights. I've done it once and seen her on undercards, but once when she was top of the bill, and she's had big backing and a lot of pressure and the spotlight on her. So seeing the way that she prepares and goes about things and how it could be for you if you really stick at it, I think that would definitely make an impression.
And of course, Barry, inspiration for young women fighters, prospects, or would-be fighters, left, right, and centre at the moment.
Just that's how success breeds success. That's how once one gym gets a big champion, you quite often find others follow. And it's not so much the trainers are great, anything like that, though they probably are. It's just you're around a successful person who just inspires you to be better. I say this Lillie Winch, it's the first time I've seen her. She's really good. Yeah. She's not up against her. Let's be realistic. She's not up against someone who's very competitive, and to be honest, it's like punching the bag for a little bit. But she's picking the punches, tipping down to the body from range, just the angle she's looking at, the composure. It's fantastic.
Yeah, as I said, I just made 3 bullet point notes after her performance on debut. Andy, and you and I, as commentators, you're always early on in careers, you're making mental notes, physical notes, watching, enjoying, wondering. And yeah, she made quite an impression on her debut for me.
She did, and it's a bit like watching Harvey Smith earlier on. Sometimes when you see somebody make their debut, they just look really at home in there. They look like they've been doing this for a long time. They're comfortable with the scenario. They're comfortable with the whole thing because this is what they were basically made for, and she does look like one of those. She's very at ease.
There's a
in
calm
everything
confidence.
that she does. Exactly, yeah.
Nice little counter right hand there as well. She just caught Quintana coming forward, locked her back on her heels. Quintana usually takes those, but just upping the tempo and the output, Lillie Winch.
Just as Andy was talking, and before I interrupted him, she made a miss, Winch, but looked away. Looked over at the crowd and had a little smile as Quintana threw a punch, which is fantastic to watch.
Yeah,
there's the real arrogance and confidence that you need in many ways.
Yeah, Billy Joe Saunders got a lot to answer for from that David Lemieux fight many moons ago, hasn't he? Looking out to the crowd as a punch went winging by his head.
Yeah.
So many young...
No
many
one's ever done it better than that, have they? I don't think. In recent years, anyway. It was so good, that. And you see other people try and do it when they haven't really got time.
Well, the nous on it was that you're up against a puncher like Lemieux. I mean, that's why it was so...
I was there, I was ringside that, and I commentated, and it was his crowd, by the way, and he just shut them up with that. More than that, he shut them up with that movement. There's a real arrogance.
Class, a little glimmer of that, little echo of that with Lillie Winch in the previous round. And her story in itself will be an inspiration maybe for another generation of fighters. She was, I think by own admission, a difficult kid. As she was having difficulty in school, temper tantrums, and she was excluded almost in school record terms at the time as an angry teenager. But her mum, in looking for an outlet for that, took her to the gym, and pretty much the rest is history. Though she was still enduring difficult times in 2020. She ballooned in weight, she had a knee injury, and she got up to something like 12 stone, or nearly, Andy. And ultimately, Christmas 2020, she decided enough was enough, and she has turned her life around with boxing very much at its core.
It obviously just gives her that discipline that she needs, that focal point that she needs, and that's why injuries can be so frustrating, because you've already turned that corner whereby you want to commit to something, and then you pick up an injury and you're just unable to in the way that you would want to, because your body won't allow it. So the rest and recovery aspect of any athlete's life is just as important as the training. It's that holy trinity, isn't it? Training, resting and eating, essentially. You need to get them all right.
Yeah, and I think there are echoes of Tyson Fury and her story. Tyson Fury has been an inspiration to her in his own way, and I think that the focus of training and the sport of boxing is a key driver in her staying sort of fit and healthy mentally more than anything else.
She's really good to watch.
I think
I'm watching her. She's really good. She can be aggressive and she can be elusive all at the same time, and that's a really difficult thing to be.
And she's doing that with pretty limited amateur experience, little bit of white collar experience, and now only 2 fights. I mean, I think she's really good.
That baffles me. When you said she had no amateur experience and how well schooled she is, that can't be. Listen, that's good coaching from somebody, that is.
Yeah, she's got some, but you know, when you consider a lot of those young talents,
so the natural talent to do what she's doing, like the elusiveness and the landing a good punches and seeing stuff, but the way she shapes up, that's good coaching. She's very good.
And Barry, you and I remember the career of Mitchell Smith particularly well.
Best debut I've ever seen.
Yeah, and
still to this day.
The only reason I mention that is because, you know, there are lots of things in and out of the ring, but weight was always a big factor in determining his career, I think. And I wonder...
I think moving at the super featherweight, so listen, he went off the rails after that, bless him, but moving it from feather to super feather, I think that was the wrong move for him. Yeah, of course, weight. And sometimes that's always, you can't help that sometimes. You know, you can be disciplined, but some people just can't find their right weight.
And the only reason I mention it is I think it will be a key driver in the success of Lillie Winch, that she ends up fighting at the right way. I don't know what that's going to be, but I think it'll be important.
I would just say at the minute, and it will change, and it's not solely the truth, but strength is not a massive, not the biggest, not as big a factor in the women's game as in the men's game. And that's not saying it might change, but no, it's not. It's more about skill, and she has the skill. That's why I think women are able to go up through the weights, because of that, and willing to be fair. That's a brave thing to do.
Yeah.
I mean, that's why if she can't get down to the weight that she should be at, she might be okay because she has plenty of skill. I'm a real fan. I'm a fan already. I think she's really good. Even though I don't think she's up against much, obviously, we know that, but still. Absolutely playing with her.
Quintana's always coming forward looking to try and get something done as well, which is good if you're on the Winch side of things because the openings are there.
And having had a little burst, Quintana, now she's forced on the back foot.
Just doesn't need to get too close here now though, Winch. Sometimes trying to be the bully, you sometimes mistake it. You mistake it for that. You have to get too close and push him back. Just use the punches to push her back. That's a lovely shot again.
Created the space to come back with the right hand.
Well, she's not pivoting, but she's swiveling around from left to right, Winch, and that's giving Quintana kittens. Look at this, it's just lovely work. She lands with an uppercut and then just that upper body movement making Quintana miss so easily. Just swaying side to side, rolling underneath. Look at that, it's great stuff.
And she is a youngster, let's not forget, she's 21. She did say in the build-up to this one, Andy, it's been quite, the camp was hard, more so because she's effectively had back-to-back camps and, you know, a young body being put through that kind of stress physically, it's been quite demanding for her.
And part of that'll be that she's on this gradual journey to just get that weight down continually, so I don't think after her last fight she would have allowed herself any kind of indulgence because she knew that this was going to take a bit of time. And she's still on it now. I think it'll be the same thing after this fight, but at some point you do have to let yourself off the hook and just relax and indulge in the odd cake or the odd vice or whatever it is, because otherwise you can go a bit crazy. You have to allow yourself that.
We say that all the time. When you get paid, take a bit out and enjoy it. When you have a fight, take a bit of time out and enjoy it. But you should live in the gym. If you live in the gym, you don't need to have a training camp. You can still enjoy yourself and go out, but you have to live in the gym and not train. You're not going to put your foot on the floor and train like a lunatic all the time, because you will have injuries. But when you have these intense training camps, you have injuries all the time. She needs to be fighting often and training all the time, and then just tapering down for fights, and then the weight will come off gradually with that.
Yeah, and give yourself the odd day off, the odd treat, as and when.
And it gives you a discipline for when you're later in your life, when you are more naturally disciplined anyway. It gives you a natural discipline because you're used to doing it. If you have to do it, you have to change your lifestyle like in your 30s. It's impossible. Not impossible. It's difficult. If you're used to doing it all your life, you'll fall back into it easier.
Well, I suppose it's the Mayweather approach, isn't it? If you're a professional athlete, you're a full-time professional athlete. That is your job.
Yeah.
But she is a big foodie. She loves her food, and she's aware of the sacrifice required in that regard. She just rocked Quintana back on her heels a few moments ago.
I would tell her now she's in the right place. This is made for her. She's absolutely fantastic. I'm a massive fan already.
I knew you would be.
Yeah, I think she's potentially really good.
It's quite effortless the way she just rolls and glides and finds space and time.
She has that ingredient that I know what she's up against, but she has that ingredient that all good fighters have: anticipation. She's seeing it before it's happening, and she's not. She's just anticipating it, and she's right. And she's making a miss and making a pay without taking a backward step.
One more round to go as we take a look back and some of the action from the fight so far. And again, plenty of her fans are here tonight, Andy, with their t-shirts. Early doors to be selling 200-300 tickets. Second fight in, pretty good.
It's a big part of the business, isn't it? It's a big part of it. And being able to do that will really, really help her, because not everybody can. And you get slots on shows if you can shift a couple of 100 tickets, 200-300 tickets every time you fight, and maybe that following can grow as well. There's the potential for that, definitely.
And Mark Dennis in her corner, who's pretty much been part of her boxing journey, more or less from the start, when a friend of ours took her to the gym. We met Mark, and well, they have forged a boxing relationship ever since that persists early on in the pro career.
And she has a fan-friendly style as well, I think. So she's looking to be aggressive, looking to work, but she's cute with it as well, isn't she? She's slick with the work, with the aggressiveness.
I think you can see with that style, Andy, as well, can't you, why she would be able to compete or do well in sparring against some of those names that I mentioned previously.
You can, because she does what you would expect a high-level fighter to try and do. You look at that there, she's on the inside, just dipped at the waist, got underneath that right hand, she's got that right glove up, she's got her chin tucked in behind the shoulder. She will be able to give pretty much anyone some good work, and that's why she finds herself in demand. And she wants to do as much of that at the moment as she possibly can, and then you reach that point where you don't want to be a sparring partner anymore. You want to bring sparring partners in, but at the minute, the more of it, the better.
Yeah, I heard Martin Bacoli say that recently, that he won't be sparring any of those big names again, and you can understand why. He's been sort of clamouring to try and get his name out there, but now his boxing's doing the talking for him. And so it is tonight, and last time for Lillie Winch. Little left hook to the body, whipped in, up close.
It's a good shot. That right hand was lovely there, running from Winch.
Oh, look at that combination, Barry. Body shot, uppercut with the same right hand.
There's a lot to like, isn't there? A lot to like.
So young, so early on, relatively so good. Is that a bit of Dizzy Rascal in the background? I tell you what, this Rascal's going to send some female boxers dizzy, that's for sure, over the next couple of months, I suspect, as she makes her way up.
She's aggressive, she's got lovely skills, her work ethic's good, and that's a fan-friendly fighter, isn't it? She's busy, she wants to throw lots of punches, she wants to be aggressive, and she's hard to hit, she's elusive, she's slick, and she can be quite, I don't know, the way she made the miss and looked away into the crowd, that's the selling point. She sells tickets. I mean, that's the perfect fight that you want, isn't it, really? And I would say, go spar out, continue to spar everybody you can. Learn from them, have a look at them, because they might be rivals in any minute now. Because in the women's game, fortunately and unfortunately, you go from being 1-0 to fighting for the title very, very quickly. And that's a present and a curse at the same time, isn't it, with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's just to do generally with the level of competition that's available in depth or not, as the case is at the moment, but that will change.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 6 rounds of boxing, we go to the referee scorecard. The ringside referee scores the bout 60-54, and your winner, still undefeated, Lillie Winch!
12 rounds in so far, 2 wins on the resume of the young Lillie Winch. Are we getting carried away, Andy?
I don't think so, because all you can go on is what you see, and the two performances we've seen so far have been really good. She hasn't been up against any kind of serious opposition, but I think that day will arrive before too long. And it's just how composed she is, how relaxed she is, how loose she is, how at home she looks in there, and that always impresses when you see somebody who just looks like they're doing what they were kind of born for, really, and she is one of them. As for how far she goes, we can't know yet, but the early signs are really good.
Johnny Clark might have a future bill-topper on his hands as she makes her way across to speak to Ali. Let's hear what they have to say.
Lillie, you moved to 2-0 as a professional. How different did it feel in there tonight compared to your debut?
I felt a lot more confident during the day today, but more nervous when I come out. But I think it's because obviously it's a big show, you know, you've got your DAZN recording you, Johnny Fisher, ringside, and I've got a lot more people here this time. So there's a lot more pressure, especially after your debut as well. So I wanted to impress, and I think I did that, so I'm quite happy.
Yeah, you certainly did. You've had 2 back-to-back camps now. Are you going to take any time off, or is it straight back to it?
I'm going to have next week off, complete rest, eat a couple pizzas, and then get straight back to it and see what's next.
Brilliant. Final word for the army of fans you've got in here tonight.
Thank you all for coming, buying your T-shirts. Let's go!
Well done tonight.
Thank you.